Here we are, a week out from race day. We'll be chassis dynoing it shortly. Hopefully we'll be all ready for this week's race.
Ex-pro stock racer from Pasadena, Texas, with the Chevelle. We'll get the head start from Brian Massengill from SAMTECH. Here comes the Copo. And Mike out in front. Sorry about that.
No, you're right, Lewis. That's the first time the SAMTECH cars actually left the starting line clean. They've been having problems with it all weekend, and they turned it into a win. They were behind in reaction time. 9:45, gets there by 13 thousandths of a second. The reaction time was going to Trumbull, but got 13 thousandths of a second too far behind at the finish line.
Yeah, Mike Trumbull, 005, goes 11:05, didn't run the number or gave it back, 105 miles per hour. Definitely slowing down at the stripe. Massengill advances for SAMTECH.EDU, sponsor of the Factory Stock Showdown.
Let me tell you, we've had a lot. We had a lot of little small errors today, but that made it all worthwhile then. It staged, it was clean. You know, we learned a lot about that, and the driver did his job, and we're happy. We're moving on.
Oh man, that was a great pass. After struggling all morning playing with that tune, car did what it was supposed to, the driver did what he was supposed to, got out a fender and just held it, took the win. We're on to round 3.
stock eliminator final round, the least modified car in the NHRA, coming at us right here. I love the fact that you can bring out stock eliminator cars from the old, from the new, dial them in and battle it out. If you end up with two cars in the same class, it's heads up. But this is what's fun about this. Brandon Bakey's in the left side. That's a 1972 Cutlass with a 455. Look at the way it dips the left front corner. That big old torque monster will straighten it right out. In the right side is Dale Hultquist, 67 Camaro, SS396. They bump their way in. Predictions are up on the scoreboard. You dial the car in, handicap star to go to the left lane, and then Hultquist in the right lane will try to beat him. Brandon Bakey's in the left side. 1 year ago, right here, he won it. Can he go back-to-back? They're clean and green off the starting line. And now the 396 Chevy trying to catch the 455 Oldsmobile. Down to the stripe, Brandon Bakey's holding on. Yes, he goes back-to-back at the Texas Motorplex and picks up his second national event win. Another cowboy hat to go with the one that he picked up last year. He predicted a 34. He ran 11.38 seconds. Dale Hultquist was off the dial a ways as well. He predicted a 1086, and he ran a 1093. The School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, Brandon Bakey's, is going to the winner's circle. We watch it again. Both of them leave with the wheels up. And Dale Hultquist, he was a huffing, and he was a puffing, and he was a hustling, and he's going to come up a little bit short at the stripe, 18 thousandths if you want to get technical.
Advance your career at SAMTECH.EDU.
I used to work for Coletta a couple years ago. I did rods and pistons, clutch assistant, tires, so just helping out whenever I can here with them. I was in the military, in the Marines, infantry. You know, I used the GI Bill. I just contacted them and they did all the heavy lifting. I literally just showed up, found a place to live. I'm actually from Corpus Christi, so it was easy for me to transition. Going to SAM after that, it was awesome, you know, very professional. They love veterans there, so they helped me out. I spent after hours and the instructors stayed after with me. Anybody can read a book, but touching and feeling and doing the process many times becomes muscle memory. You become very good at it. As far as race engines go, they're probably the best school out there. You know, people from out of the country come to that school. I loved it. It was great. You know.
Advance your career at SAMTECH.EDU.
I knew what I wanted to do when I was a freshman in high school. I wanted to work on a pro stock car.
We were in Topeka, Kansas when he was, I believe, a freshman in high school, and he knew what he wanted to do. He knew he wanted to work on a pro stock team at some point. And so we actually have a friend that knew one of the crew members on one of the teams. He explained to Chris what he needed to do in order to get on a pro stock team. And one of those things was getting the specific education at a place like SAMTECH in order to get your foot in the door.
Right now I work for Derek Kramer on his pro stock team. I do clutch, transmission, back half, drives the truck. I'm just about a one-man team with my crew chief. Right now we got a brand new showdown car, factory showdown. Should be racing it in about 2 weeks in Charlotte. Very excited about that. Dave wants me to crew chief on it, and so we'll get a shot there. I grew up around the race cars and helping with it, and then started with junior dragsters when I was 8. And made my way up and started running a 67 Chevelle when I was 16. It was my mom's car. And that was about 2 years before I looked into going to the school. I knew I wanted to go, and then my dad and I were like, all right, let's go look at it and see what everything's like and plan it out. And I mean, at that point, yeah, I had already decided, but it wasn't just my decision.
He knew immediately. As soon as he got into Houston and went to the school, met the folks, it just clicked immediately, and he knew right away that that's what he was going to do.
When I went there, it's like, okay, I mean, I just knew it. It's like, I'm going to learn a lot here. you really don't need hardly any experience to go into it.
All of the things that he's learned at SAMTech that he applies every day in the Pro Stock team, he actually gets to apply it in our racing program as well.
The biggest thing I got, I mean, working with all the other students and you know, being able to learn. I mean, I learned a lot of how to learn about all this, and then I'm also building engines still, my own engine shop, Mountain Motor Performance. So, I mean, I'm still using all the techniques that I learned there.
Visit SAMTECH.EDU.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Stray, and I'm an instructor here at the School of Automotive Machinist and Technology in Houston, Texas. I'd like to give you a behind-the-scenes look at the program SAMTech offers. Since 1985, SAMTech has been training students for the real world in performance racing and aftermarket industry. Our goal is to provide you with the best education possibilities to find a job doing what you're passionate about in the motorsport industry. Allow me to start our tour with a quick glimpse of our programs and facility. SAMTech offers 5 programs of study: block machining, head machining, CNC machining, EFI calibration, and Associates of Applied Science degree. These programs help our graduates find careers in the performance aftermarket industry by providing them with a classroom education and hands-on experience that is second to none. The equipment in our shop is the same equipment found in most machine shops around the world. We ask employers what our students should be learning on. We have older machines as well as state-of-the-art machines, so our students can get a job at any machine shop and never feel unprepared. Let's start with the block machining program. We cover the theory and the machining involved with performance rotating assemblies. An example of a section in block theory is cam geometry, degreeing and the math involved to understand how to choose and install cams. This particular section lasts 4 to 5 weeks, which is longer than most other schools spend on the entire engine program. In the block program, our students also cover bearings, pistons and rings, balancing, blueprinting, fuel, ignition, and oiling systems, as well as the dyno setup and operation. One thing that separates SAMTech from other schools is the variety of engines that come through our doors. The engines we build are far from anything most people will ever have the opportunity to work on, and the hands-on experience our students receive is unlike any other school. In the cylinder head machining program, we teach our students how to find hidden horsepower through airflow. In this program, our students learn far more than just basic valve jobs. We teach the design and function of cylinder head components, guides, seats, springs, valves, and seals. We also teach porting, surfacing, teardown and inspection, as well as the complete machining process on our state-of-the-art equipment. Next is our CNC machining program. We start with the basics of writing code in a discriminator format, then move on to using Mastercam programming toolpaths. Once the students have a firm grasp on manipulating the CAD/CAM software, we move into the lab with a ferro arm digitizer, as well as our 3-axis Takumi and our 5-axis Haas machines. Each student will learn to program and operate both machines, as well as use the digitizer. The number one piece of equipment most shops are adding is CNC machines. In addition to the performance racing industry, our CNC graduates are getting jobs in the medical field, oil industry, and the aerospace industry. SAMTech's EFI calibration program is one of the most comprehensive courses in the performance racing industry. From factory OEM level systems to aftermarket racing standalone systems, our students get to experience unsurpassed hands-on training in the lab. Our in-house engine and chassis dyno help our students get the experience needed to be successful in the field. Our course covers engine dynamics, airflow dynamics, and electrical and wiring systems, so the student knows how to handle and adapt from 4 cylinders to 16-cylinder engines. The last program we offer is an associate's program. We ask SAMTech employers how to make our graduates more hireable for managerial positions at bigger companies, and they told us a degree goes a long way. Our students take accelerated college core classes of English, algebra, physics, business communication, and sociology at night here on our campus, earning their degree. Many of our students choose to take all of the programs we offer, giving them a well-rounded education, training, and experience. In turn, this makes them a very desirable employee in the performance automotive field.
Advance your career at SAMTECH.EDU.
The same story all across the world of racing. The driver gets the glory, but we rarely see the team behind that success. Today on Engine Power, we've got a pit pass to watch the SAMTech crew in action at the NHRA Spring Nationals. You'll see what goes on behind the scenes so these drag cars can make big power. Plus, how SAMTech stays on the leading edge of automotive technology, creating the race teams of tomorrow.
Welcome to Engine Power. Today we're on the road where Pat used to spend 23 weekends out of the year chasing the biggest trophy in drag racing, the Wally. Now it took a ton of man hours, dedication, and blood, sweat, and tears for just a little over 6 seconds of glory.
But today is nothing about that moment of glory. We're going to be bringing you the behind the scenes action, what it takes to get to that point, and we're bringing it straight into your living room, from the work on the cars to the talented men and women who make it all happen.
We're at Houston Raceway Park for the NHRA Spring Nationals. SAMTECH invited us out to spend the weekend with their students as they compete with their Copo Camaro. This will show you the involvement these guys and gals get while attending classes in machining, engine building, tuning, and ultimately racing.
And we'll also talk to some graduates who have made their dreams come true when SAMTECH's job placement assistants guided them to positions on professional race teams. And I'm pretty sure we'll also run into some of those professional drivers who put their lives on the line for our entertainment.
Oh, this car is 99.9% preparation. I mean, it really is, Pat. It's a difficult thing to explain to somebody, but in order for all these parts to be the same, we go through endless tasks of CCing cylinder heads and CCing pistons and checking heights, and it's endless.
I love it. I love the speed. I love the competition. I love how much hard work and tenacity goes into it.
Tell me a little bit about what it takes to be a crew person.
Oh gosh, a lot of time and a lot of effort. You know, these guys spend a lot of time away from their families. We all spend more time together than we get to spend at home, so they're great people. They're really wonderful at their job. We're all very fortunate, and I consider myself pretty blessed to drive for this group.
Chris Vang is a busy man. After graduation from SAMTECH cylinder head and engine block programs in just 11 months, he now lives and breathes drag racing, as a driver with his family's dragster and as a crew member.
I knew what I wanted to do when I was a freshman in high school. I wanted to work on a pro stock car. Right now I work for Derek Kramer on his pro stock team. I do clutch, transmission, back half, drives the truck. I'm just about a one-man team with my crew chief.
Working on drag cars demands skill, passion, and commitment. Often, major maintenance that would take 5 hours in the shop must be completed in 2 hours or less. Anything it takes to get the rig to the line when the driver's name is called. Plus, these vehicles can be very unpredictable.
You never know what you're gonna do. You could roll it back, put the new clutch in it, and that's it, or you could roll it back and change absolutely everything.
Chris values his education as a crucial part of his success. The decision to study at SAMTECH was easy.
I knew I wanted to go, and then my dad and I were like, all right, let's go look at it and see what everything's like and plan it out. And I mean, at that point, yeah, I had already decided.
And it becomes their extended family, your racing family. Chris with the SAMTECH folks, you know, they are his extended family. We go to PRI and we see them and enjoy spending time with them. You have your own family, but it's an extended family as well in the racing community.
After serving 6 years in the Marines, Adam Torres was searching for a new career. He found that SAMTECH shared his military values of respect, organization, and a strong work ethic.
They love veterans there, so they help me out. I spent after hours, and the instructors stayed after with me to help me learn the machines better, you know, getting more effective and better quality work. It's great. You know, they have a lot of instructors too. You know, an instructor can take a group of students and get hands-on, because anybody can read a book, but touching and feeling and doing the process many times becomes muscle memory. You become very good at it.
But I wanted to be the best at what I did. And I continue to work hard even today. After 19 years, I still try to put in hours every single day and work as hard as I can possibly be to be the best.
When you start putting in the effort, you realize that it's not so much work. It's a hobby for me still. And you know, you can be at the shop till midnight and you really don't tire from it. I wouldn't have found this without going to SAMTECH. It really helped me grow and figure out who I was and who I wanted to be.
Up next, nothing beats on-the-job experience, and SAMTECH students are getting plenty of it.
We're back at Houston Raceway for the NHRA Spring Nationals. The School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, SAMTECH for short, calls Houston home as well. In addition to classroom and hands-on training in race engine construction, the school provides students and instructors the chance to gain additional real-world experience by running a stable of sportsman-class drag cars. The first lesson you'll learn in the pits is to expect the unexpected.
Oh yes, this is a very typical race weekend, and nothing ever goes perfectly smooth. And that's one of the advantages of being able to bring our students out here and show them this. They get to see the build-up at the school, then come out, see us make a pass, see the problems, and then help us solve them. So it's very hands-on for them. It's very good to be here at the Houston track because we can get them all out here, show them what we do, and get very hands-on.
Brian Massengill drives SAMTEC's factory stock Copo Camaro. The car qualified well, but Brian fought some ignition issues with the two-step rev limiter. The two-step lets the driver set a lower maximum RPM when the engine's at wide open throttle. This helps the car hook up at launch when the two-step button is released. Once the car launches, the second and higher rev limiter is engaged, which of course sends maximum power to the tires.
Some of our adjustments we were making when we were in the car was I was putting it on the two-step and then coming off of it just to see where that die is so our tuner could get in there, look at the fuel map, and make the appropriate adjustments. Also did a few little changes to our timing and just launch RPM, things like that.
The crew works quickly, tracking down all possible trouble spots, looking for anything that could be wrong with the car. They spray all of the ignition connections with WD-40 to ensure good electrical contact. They check the condition of the spark plugs and put fresh ones in to help diagnose the engine's tune. After making some adjustments to the tune-up, the two-step works fine, and Brian heads off to win the second round of eliminations. You can't say anything about that, but that was a real win. That was a real win.
We earned every bit of that.
You ran him down and held the fender on him the whole way.
Held the fender on him. I got him about a little after the 1,000 foot, and we were dancing around a little bit. He got on the brakes and gave me the stripe, and luckily we put a good number on the car to catch him early, and I kind of tapped the brakes at the end. I got the round win, and we're ready to go again here in the next half hour. It's going to be a quick turnaround, but we're ready to go.
I can't express how proud I am of you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. There's a lot of hard work and energy that goes into my 9.5 second passes for me to mess something up in that 9.5 second pass. You know, when these guys have been working on this car for 9 hours, 9 months, 9 weeks, 9 years, whatever it is, and there's a lot that goes on as a driver, and so I'm really happy to get this round win and be on to round 3 for the students and Aaron and Cole and everyone else that works on this car. You know, it is a total team effort, from the cylinder head department to the block department to the CNC department to the EFI department. It's really good, and it feels great whenever you keep racing.
The team headed out in high spirits for round 3, but joy can be fleeting in any competition. Brian made a strong pull, but got edged out by his opponent.
No, it's okay. No worries. Dude, don't worry about that stuff. That happens. No worries. No, you did a great job. Starting from a field of 46 racers, Brian made it down to the final 12. And the team will carry more determination and knowledge the next time they return to the track.
From time-tested fundamentals of engine performance to the most cutting-edge technology, you can learn it all at SAMTECH.
We're back at SAMTECH, which is the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We just saw the students and instructors thrash in the heat of battle out in the pits at the NHRA Spring Nationals.
It takes a ton of skill, knowledge, and composure to survive at the highest level of drag racing. And this is where the SAMTECH students receive the training that they need to succeed.
SAMTECH was founded in 1985 with a mission to create machinists working at the highest levels of engine building and motorsports racing. The foundation is based on engine block and cylinder head machining, offering comprehensive 9-month programs for each subject. Classes begin with the basics, such as part and tool identification, along with proper shop practices. No prior mechanical experience is required. Students quickly learn the math and science of how engines work, how to blueprint an engine, and how to operate the machinery correctly. The lessons learned in the classroom are reinforced by hundreds of hours of shop time, putting down the books and getting real-world experience. If you are willing to learn, the instructors are willing to teach.
It's a good building block for getting into this industry. They're going to teach you a lot of things, and they're going to point out the things that you think you know but that you don't know. If you're just looking for a hobby or something like that, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you eat, sleep, and breathe racing, I would recommend it.
Don't just go home after the bell rings. Make sure you stay there, and because I learned more after hours than I did during school, just because there's more one-on-one time whenever the doors are shut and everybody else decides they want to go home.
Automotive technology continues to advance, and SAMTECH is prepared. From bumper to bumper, computers control more parts of a vehicle than ever before. The EFI calibration program teaches students how to remap air and fuel curves for peak engine performance, how to get the best results from power adders such as turbos and superchargers, and how to work with modern electronic systems like traction control and launch control.
Well, EFI is pretty interesting just because you are literally changing how the engine runs through a computer.
These students are testing a Coyote-equipped 5-liter Mustang. With factory air induction, it's laying down an impressive 444 horsepower at the wheel. Instructor Jason Haynes takes time to explain what goes on during a dyno run, showing his class how to analyze large amounts of detailed data to get the engine running perfectly. After installing a cold air kit, the Ford makes another run. It picks up 4 more horses and 12 pound-feet of torque.
From modern muscle to stunning classic cars, plenty of quality rides make their way into the shop. This gasser caught our attention, and we couldn't wait to get the details from the owner.
Well, it's a 61 Pontiac Tempest. This was probably a 4-cylinder sedan grocery getter in its previous life. That it had a blown head gasket, and that led to finding out it was a 13-to-1 motor. It didn't have a computer or any kind of O2 sensors or anything running the fuel injection system, so it was definitely in need of some work. So I gave Judson a call, and that turned into about an 8-month project here to get a new engine in it. Old 4-speed Muncie transmission, 9-inch Ford. It had a 488 gear when I got it, which made it a little bit nasty on the street. So I've since put a 350 gear in it. Obviously, the drop front axle and the leaf springs, it pretty much like driving a buckboard. Yeah. It goes in a straight line, though.
That's cool.
It runs good.
The interior in this car is beautiful, and I'm led to believe that that's the original interior in this thing.
That is the factory original interior.
That's
yes.
incredible. Ooh, that is clean, clean.
Doesn't get any prettier than that.
Wow.
It's a ZZ4 short block, just a standard board 350 cubic inch.
So what kind of attention does it get? What do you like to do with it? Drive it down the road? What?
Yeah, I live in a small town, and you don't take it anywhere without, if you're watching the mirrors, you'll see people behind you jockeying in and out of traffic just to pull up beside you, either give you a thumbs up, taking pictures, taking videos.
Unbelievable.
Beautiful car.
CNC machining has been around for decades, but the technology has really advanced in the past few years.
CNC is computer numerical control, so we have our milling machines here that are controlled by a computer that we program. So that way they remove the material from the metal to get whatever desired object out of it.
Some of the biggest advantages of CNC machining are accuracy, automation, and repeatability.
Repeatability is a big thing, especially if you're producing cylinder heads of the exact same port over and over again. All I have to do is turn the machine on, bolt the head down, and hit go. And I get the same result over and over and over again.
SAMTECH has a thorough CNC program which gives students the knowledge they need from the ground up.
So what we do is we get into G-code, which is what these machines run on. So they learn how to write that program by hand, and then we move into Mastercam, which is our CAD/CAM software. So then they learn how to do design work, they learn how to do toolpaths. We come down here on the machines, we do class projects for the school, their own personal projects if they want.
Today, the students are working on a part for a hand-built Rolls-Royce Roadster. The vehicle will run a P51 Mustang engine, and it needs a custom-designed intake manifold. From a solid block of aluminum, the CNC machine slowly sculpts the finished piece, which will hold multiple Weber carburetors once it's complete. CNC capability is in high demand in all aspects of industrial production.
We have the big international oil and gas companies calling us constantly, needing and wanting our CNC machinists because there's such a need there. And the hands-on training, the machining, there's such a need right now for that. And we have employers that are not just automotive that are calling us, asking for our students.
There's no limit. They can keep going, progressing, moving on, and there's no stopping them, really.
Up next, most schools have laboratories, but SAMTECHs are the loudest.
Any serious student spends plenty of hours with pen to paper, but when the time comes for laboratory work, SAMTECH easily has the most exciting experiments of any school of higher learning. While others are creating ionic compounds, or at best dissecting a frog, these scholars are prepping a supercharged LS to make well over 1,000 horsepower.
Well, we just completed a dyno pull on a 361-inch blown LS, 1,307 horse, 865 pound-feet of torque. That is incredible. This is a race engine. Now, what is this going, Jimmy?
Copo Camaro.
Okay, so Copo Camaro engine. The idea that you can have that little cubic inch and make that kind of power on one of these is unbelievable. And you can tell by the graph, valve train stability is right. The actual package of the tune-up is right. The engine is still in one piece, so nice job to SAMTECH. There are jobs where you can make a good living, and there are jobs where you do what you love. Mesa Newman is making plans for both.
A lot of my friends grew up doing what their parents did, and they go right into high school or college and they get a degree and they do whatever their parents do, and they're not happy because they don't have the time to explore and figure out what they want to do. And like, I could not imagine to live a life where you're working and you hate your job. So I'm very thankful for SAMTECH.
Mesa appreciates the small class size, typically about 20 students. It gives everyone plenty of time to ask questions and to train with shop equipment.
This place isn't a huge school, so there's a lot of opportunities for any time you want to work on hands-on. You talk to somebody and I think just the availability of machines probably.
One of the perks for students at SAMTECH is they occasionally get the chance to run their own project engines in the dyno cell. Bryce Sinner is currently in the block machining program. He's testing the 408 cubic inch engine that will go in his Cadillac.
It's going in a 2004 CTSV, just kind of a street car, make it tape to the strip down there in Denver, Colorado, here and there. It's a 6.0 block. We got Wiseco pistons, Callie's crank, Callie's rods, running about 13.1 compression.
In search of more power, the heads were ported by the crew over in the cylinder head program.
Fully CNC'd, flowing about 365-ish, around in there.
Bryce wants the engine to make 600 horsepower or more, and based on the specs he shared with us, we're sure he'll reach that goal. Keeping in touch with the demands of larger corporate employers, SAMTECH has added an Associate of Applied Science degree to their curriculum. Focusing on engine block and cylinder head machining, it includes 5 courses in communications, math, science, and sociology required to achieve the degree. This opens doors to careers that require a 2-year diploma.
And as they get out into the field, it will help them become managers or directors. And there are certain levels once you get into particularly a bigger machine shop or a bigger company that you must have an associate degree to apply for a higher level position. So it's allowed our students who climb higher in the industry.
For 6 years, Elizabeth of VTS served in the Army motor pool as a wheeled vehicle mechanic. Later, when she watched a machinist create more horsepower with his knowledge, she decided that she wanted to be a machinist too.
I found it so fascinating that, he's using all these math skills, all these science skills, all these other areas that you learn in school, and you're putting it into this craft, into this masterpiece, and putting it into a vehicle and letting it go.
From the moment Elizabeth made that choice and contacted the school, SAMTECH was there to help.
I don't have my family out here. All my family is back home in Washington. So the help that I received from Sam has been so important, so special.
The automotive industry is expanding, and so is the school.
But we bulldozed 2 houses that we'd bought next to our property, and we're building a building larger than the whole school now, and we're going to include welding in there.
In addition to the welding department, the new building will house the EFI calibration department along with additional teaching space and machinery. If you are serious about learning automotive technology, SAMTECH is serious about you.
For more information on anything you've seen today, visit PowerNationTV.com.